everybody, SonGoshuaku here, and this is the review for WWE Royal Rumble 2018. Today joining me is just one guest, the man0001.
Hello, friends. I am the man 0001, and that's friends with a PH.
Unfortunately, we were not able to get Steve-O or Matt on to join us, but hopefully he'll be back for future WWE reviews. But don't worry, we will be breaking down the Royal Rumble. So let's be honest, we're going to be upfront with you. We did not watch the pre-show. We were actually in the car on our way with our friends to a wonderful sports bar filled with passionate WWE fans in Chicago, and X-Pac was there. We got to meet him, so that was really good, and being around that atmosphere. So by the time we got there, the main show was starting, but I do have the results here. So it's from my understanding from the results is that Kalisto, Grand Metalik, and Lince Dorado defeated TJP, Drew Gulak, and Gentleman Jack Gallagher, and via pinfall. I heard that there weren't a lot of people in the crowd of attendance. Basically, I heard a lot of people on the pre-show in the crowd, unfortunately, so that really sucks considering Kalisto's been through that before. I feel sorry for the talent, but I'm not sure how many fans were really invested into this match. That's all due respect to the wonderful talents of the Cruiserweight division. I understand that the Revival got a victory over the Balor Club, Luke Gallows and Carlo Anderson, so they got their win back. I'm fine with it because, after that Raw segment on Raw 25, you gotta give the Revival something now. I don't want to see them become like the Ascension. And Bobby Roode did his United States Championship challenge, and Mojo Rawley came out, and apparently I heard Bobby Roode did a very bad looking DDT and won. So it was what it was. If you watched it, hopefully. I heard Medusa had some hilarious spots on the pre-show. And that's about all, basically, just from what I heard. Overall, I gotta be honest, I'm not really that invested to go back and watch the show. All due respect to the talents once again, but just nothing that I think was anything in particular that I'm invested in going back to see. What about you, the man 0001? Are you invested to go back on the pre-show? What did you think based on the results I just read?
The pre-show is the pre-show. I mean, I might go and watch one of these days, but for the time being, all my efforts are geared toward going to WrestleMania. That's that.
Right. I agree. But you know what? Let's talk about the main card, as I'm pretty sure that's why most of you clicked on to listen to this review. All right, so the Curtain Jerker match was none other than AJ Styles defending the WWE Championship against KO, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Now, I was not a fan of the build-up to this match. I wasn't really looking forward to this match. For those of you who grew up in the Attitude Era, I remember back when they did the Triple Threat match at Breakdown 1998 when Stone Cold Steve Austin had to defend against Kane and Undertaker. It was booked as a glorified handicap match, but there was what's going to happen when both brothers realize one of them can only get the pinfall and only one of them can be a champion. And I thought that took some of the tension away from this match. The fact that they are just saying they're going to be co-WWE champions. And this kind of just doesn't work. The match was it was a fine opener. It was what it was. But AJ Styles retains the championship, and I'm glad that he did. And that's pretty much what I gotta say. What was your thoughts on this opening match for the WWE Championship? The man 0001.
The match was all right. Match was all right. It's pretty. It was all right. I got some enjoyment out of it. At least AJ Styles won, and it didn't lead to some convoluted co-champion storyline that would have just further blurred the lines down the road to WrestleMania. So glad we got out with one undisputed champion being AJ Styles. Undisputed champion on the WWE Championship side on SmackDown, of course. being AJ Styles, and I was, sort of entertained by this match. And, I don't mean sort of entertained like, this match was boring and I wanted to get it over real quick. No, I mean, I was sort of entertained by this match, but, in terms of, I got some enjoyment out of it and I liked it,
Good.
And,
Glad you did.
That's just what it is.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, and all three are tremendous talents and everything. I just wish the storyline would have been built up a little bit better. But with that said, the next match was for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Usos defending against Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. I love the way they say that. So this match, 2 out of 3 falls. I definitely would say I've liked the Usos' previous matches with the New Day better. The match was fine. I would say I've seen better matches, I think, out of the Usos and Gable and Shelton Benjamin, but I'm not gonna say it's a bad match, not at all. Just it wasn't the best. It wasn't my favorite. I'll say that. I'll put it like that. But what I did like about this match is actually I'm fine with it going just 2 rounds and two falls straight for the Usos. Typically you get a lot of 2 out of 3. So I'm glad that WWE decided to break up the flow a little bit and give us something different. The Usos have been on an incredible run. Gable and Shelton Benjamin are tremendous talents. And hopefully something is planned good, because I do think Chad Gable is a tremendous ring. I think is tremendous in the ring, and I think he's got something there with the way he is in his segments. I think there is some sort of charisma there. I think even more so than what we've seen so far out of Jason Jordan and everything. And that's not a knock at Jason Jordan. I think he's starting to knock it out of the park too as well. Shelton Benjamin, obviously, let's face it, if you grew up in the Ruthless Aggression era or beforehand, you know how awesome Shelton Benjamin is. So yeah, I say it was a fine match for what it was. How about you, themann0001? I just realized it's just the two of us talking, so I don't have to signal out who I'm talking to. So what was your thoughts on this?
My thoughts on this is this match was okay. Yeah, and it was a match that was okay to good. I mean, I watched it, and when I watched it, I was like, oh man, this match is this match is really good, and I felt that this match was stopped prematurely. It was over with. It was over with before it could get going. I felt this match was over with before it could get going. I felt that it was like, I'm watching it, and I'm just like, ah, man, this match is about to get going, and then first fall goes to the Usos, then the second fall quickly goes to the Usos again, and I'm just like, ah, man. It's like, yeah, damn it,
Mm-hmm.
I was just enjoying this, I was just enjoying this ice cream bar, and all of a sudden it fell in the mud.
It just felt like
God,
they swept the rug right under you. Yeah, I totally got you.
Yeah,
But they probably wanted to save room for what is the next match we're getting to here. We'll spend some definitely good time on this. The 30-man Royal Rumble match, starting right in the middle of the show. Third match. It was at this point I realized, and I think I was telling you along with our other friends, is okay, something big is going down in that main event, and it just might mean that the person entering the Royal Rumble might have the same initials as the Royal Rumble itself, but more on that later. So we're kicking off. We had Jerry the King Lawler. We're just giving our initial thoughts here, having only watched it at the sports bar we were at, so we did not unfortunately get to hear all the commentary. Maybe that's a good thing, knowing how a lot of people are very critical of the commentating nowadays. So let's start off. So number 1 is Rusev. Number 2 was Finn Balor. I thought it was really cool to start off. You get Rhino coming in. Then it was Baron Corbin. Rhino got eliminated. Then Baron Corbin got eliminated. Heath Slater came out. And then from there, he gets knocked down. He gets knocked down by Elias, And we had number 7, who entered as our NXT champion, Andre Cien Almas. And he takes a slot at Slater. Bray Wyatt comes in, takes a shot at Slater. And then Big E comes out, and he gives Slater pancakes. So he was actually nice. Pancakes he takes out from his single leg. And then you have Sami Zayn coming in. They were going to do Ty Dillinger at number 10 again. We're like, okay. And basically Sami Zayn decides to give it he does his best, he channels up his best Edge impersonation from Elimination Chamber many years ago when he took Kofi Kingston out, and somehow this is the rules and why everyone else doesn't try this. I don't know why. They just did it. So poor Ty Dillinger, and this is how Sami Zayn gets in. So that's the 1/3 of this match so far. I thought it was fun. The crowd was into Rusev, and I thought Heath Slater, man, taking another beating like Raw 1000, Raw 25th anniversary, and then everybody's just coming out and kicking him down. I thought it was hilarious. I liked it. There was a comedy spot. There was a story it was telling here, so that was fine. Before we move on to the second half of this, I want to get your thoughts. What was your first thought as we went through the first 10 entrants there?
Oh boy, my thoughts on the first 10 entrants is this. This right here was quite entertaining. It was quite thrilling. A lot of people, they crap all over it. Yeah, I got some enjoyment out of this. You know what I mean? It's one of the more fun Royal Rumbles that we've had in a very long time. And being able to enjoy this first half, this first third of the Royal Rumble per se was, it was thrilling, and I got to getting to see Heath Slater come out and do the comedy spot. You know what I mean? Taking them beatings and them bumps on the rampway, definitely it's worth it. Especially since you don't know Heath Slater's net worth is $3 million.
Wow, did not know that. No matter how low you are on the card, obviously it pays to be in WWE. At least they pay you well.
So if I ever get to the WWE, I definitely want to know who Heath Slater's manager is and agent is, because I need to get on that Heath Slater money. But yeah, back to the match. Heath Slater, he was definitely an entertaining part of up there. And then also you have Rusev. I almost said Alexander Rusev as a little bit of a tribute to his old name when he first got on the main roster. But Rusev comes out, and he and Finn Balor, they just go out there and they just tear the house down.
Oh yeah.
A little bit of rest holds and stuff.
Of course you got to. You're gonna be in the Rumble that long.
I know, but they made it look entertaining. They made it look like they were trying to get each other out of there early, And another thing I must say about this Royal Rumble in general is it was not a lazy Royal Rumble where people are. I'm sorry, this is funny because I watched every single Royal Rumble heading into this one. Mm-hmm. It was definitely exciting and entertaining on the way up to it. It was definitely not lazy where people are just resting on the ropes or just walking around looking for people to hit.
Nobody doing the old Jerry Lawler, which I think was in 1997. Like, what, it was like 30 or 40 something minutes?
1990.
Or was that 96?
Yeah, I think it was 1990. No, I think it was it was 97.
None of them doing those type of rules. Of course, Jerry Lawler was awesome in that role because that's what he had to do. Yeah, man, I definitely agree. This is definitely one of the best, better Royal Rumbles. I didn't watch them straight all there, but last year I watched all Royal Rumble matches straight through. So I can definitely say this has definitely been one of the better ones. So let's continue on here. Now, this is the part you were next. You saw me. I probably gave the highest pitch laugh out loud I've ever done on this spot. So Sheamus comes out at number 11. he picks up Heath Slater, throws him into the ring, immediately goes in, and in 1 second, Heath Slater clotheslines him right out of the ring. I was
Yeah.
cracking up. I thought this was tremendous. I loved that they put this spot in. Wow, the 20. How bad for Heath Slater to get the crap beat out of him before he gets in the ring. Then he gets a huge endorsement of eliminating the 2012 Royal Rumble winner, and then gets eliminated straight afterwards. Good stuff. We had
That was that was quite funny. I guess what I mean. I guess Sheamus wasn't ready. I mean, they should have Santino Morella doing the Royal Rumble review too. Looking at it. So how ready was ask how ready was Sheamus? Santino, how ready was Sheamus? No, he was not quite prepared for that. But yeah,
he didn't look
but yeah,
ready at all. But you know what? I guess this gave Sheamus plenty of time to not have to wear himself out for his next match, which we won't have actually much to say about that match. But we have the Xavier Woods comes out at number 12, followed by Apollo Crews. You got Shinsuke Nakamura, and he came out to a big, huge pop, and he was my favorite. I won't say favorite. He was who I wanted to win, and we'll get more to Nakamura later. Sami Zayn gets eliminated, and Cesaro comes out at number 15, and then Kofi Kingston comes out. Number 16, Apollo Crews gets eliminated. Then after that...
Wait a second. The elimination was worldwide.
You do it better than I do. But yeah, I remember I was trolling people here, all our friends. We have the modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal comes out. And I wish Steve-O would have been able to join us for this Royal Rumble review, because I know he has been very, very outspoken about Jinder's WWE Championship reign. I would have loved to have him talk about this. So we have Xavier Woods gets eliminated, tossed by Mahal. Big E is then eliminated, I think, by Mahal as well. And then you have the Architect Seth Rollins comes out, and basically from there
Comes out in Harlem Heat pants.
Harlem Heat, I thought it was kind of tribute to Bam Bam Bigelow, but it was pretty cool. I liked everybody had some new attire. I dug it. Cesaro got eliminated afterwards, and you had Jinder Mahal got eliminated afterwards from there. Let's see. Actually, I forgot. Let's talk about the big spot. Do you know that big Kofi Kingston spot that we have a lot in these matches?
As a side note, that'd be funny if that'd be funny if the Universal title match went on before, and, and they were to have the the pre Royal Rumble promos, and Seth Rollins was wearing the Harlem Heat tights, and that'd be funny if he cut a certain promo on Brock Lesnar or AJ Styles.
Take what we want. We get it.
But yeah, let's not deviate from
right.
From there.
So we had the Kofi Kingston, the big Kofi Kingston spot. Now Kofi's been always entertaining in these parts, but I thought in recent years they kind of were losing ideas and they weren't as spectacular. So in this particular one, only one of Kofi's feet hit the ground, and I believe it lands on top of Xavier Woods, and then Big E puts it on the pancakes, and we were cracking up at that. Just the pancakes to the rescue. I remember everybody in the bar started the pancake chain, pancakes, 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 and what was really spectacular about this one is that Kofi and the rest of the New Day launches Kofi into the air, and he jumps over Mahal. The air time that Kofi got on this made this spectacular, and I thought really made it one of the best Kofi spots we've seen. Definitely was a breath of fresh air. Like I said, I thought some of the more recent ones, Kofi spots we got, weren't quite as spectacular. And then afterwards, of course, I think from there, Kofi, he ended up eliminating Jinder Mahal, which got a huge pop. Of course it would. And then Amos eliminates Kofi Kingston. So once again, the status quo, give Kofi Kingston his big moment in the Rumble and then eliminate him after all the work he takes to get in there. Yeah. I'm still waiting for my Royal Rumble spot that I've been wanting for years. Like, when are we going to have somebody get eliminated but land on like one foot or they land like on their back or something, or they on the ground, but one of their feet, they keep one of their legs in the air so that it never hits the ground. They just hop up on one leg and roll into the ring and throw the person out. You would wonder, wouldn't so many people take advantage of that rule? I guess we got to wait till WWE Creative comes up with it where somebody can hop on one foot as a way of not being eliminated. We have Woken, who is introduced as Broken. Matt Hardy came out, and Rusev is tossed out by both Matt Hardy and Wyatt, who decide to form an alliance. After 30 minutes in the ring, and the crowd is booing heavily. And then from there, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt eliminate each other. And I'll go ahead and stop it from here on the before we get into the third and final half, the final thirds of this match. So this whole middle of the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I thought after the Heath Slater moment, you just kind of had like a lot of wrestlers coming out, but you didn't have any much surprises at this point. And I could see why some fans probably thought some parts were kind of a downer, but it was focusing on the main talent. But I really can't complain too much about it. Because I was still quite entertained through most of this. So I think at most point we're starting to wait for some of the bigger stars to come out. Yeah, I think we had some interesting parts with Kofi Kingston and a lot of the current talent getting spotlights. So yeah, I can't complain. What was your thoughts on the once we got to the halfway part of this match?
Yeah, my thoughts were, this match kept delivering.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like after the first third of the match was over, the second trimester of the match began, and it was just like, man, this is, this right here is awesome. This right here is amazing. It just kept delivering one after another,
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed this Royal Rumble match. It was fun. It was funny. And it was quite dramatic. You know what I mean? It was quite dramatic too.
Oh yeah,
So it's
definitely.
not like,
It definitely gets very dramatic towards the end. But did you have everything that you wanted to say about the second half before we move on to the final half?
second half of Royal Rumble, it was, it was a lot of chicanery going on in there, and but I don't have much to say about this part. It was just a lot of,
Very,
a lot of stuff
very
going
well.
on.
We'll move.
You know,
We'll move on to number 20, where do 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 John Cena comes out at number 20 to the usual boos from the Philadelphia crowd and the whole John Cena sucks.
and
Uh,
the sing along with the John Cena music. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, this right here, we're getting down to the nitty gritty at this point. You see
sure.
John Cena out. It's just like, man.
We
It's
all
like,
knew there's a great possibility that he's probably going to win this because WWE wants to get that 17th world title reign. Here's one of the
because all roads eventually lead back to John Cena getting that world title.
Yeah, it's gonna happen sooner or later, folks. It's gonna happen. But here's one of the genuine cool surprises. Stand back, because the Hurricane made a return in the Rumble as a surprise appearance. This was awesome to see Hurricane Helms. But as quick as we got to see him, he tries to do the choke slam. I was hoping he was gonna choke slam John Cena, but it more turned out to be a tribute to the 2002 Royal Rumble when he tried to choke slam Triple H in Austin.
He should have just took the choke slam.
Oh yeah, that would have been a huge pop. Like, at least let us get a moment. Like when we get these legends and stars that we haven't seen in forever, we at least want to see them do their signature moves. But John Cena eliminates him quickly, and it's like, What did you think about that part with the Hurricane Hams? Like in terms of from beginning to end, it was like yay, and then he's gone. It got John Cena a tremendous amount of heel heat, even though WWE doesn't want to try and present him as a heel. But yeah, what was your thoughts on Hurricane Helms' part in this match?
Man, I was mad as hell. Why would y'all bring back the Hurricane like that and then have him thrown the fuck out?
Right. Like wow, yeah. Moving on though. All right, so after that, we get Aiden English comes out, and man, I did not realize how long it's been since I've heard his music after all the Rusev Day. Cause I was like, who the heck is this? And I'm like, oh, it's Aiden English, and he gets the cool Rusev Day pops. We had Adam Cole, baby. That was really cool.
Yeah.
See Adam Cole getting some spotlight in here from NXT. That was great. Aiden English gets eliminated. Then number 24, we had Randy Orton, who has already won 2 previous Royal Rumbles, so bringing out all the big guns now. So Andre Cien, who had a great showing in the Royal Rumble, gets eliminated after he gets an RKO out of nowhere from Randy Orton. I was kind of laughing because we're like, oh, that's his introduction to the main roster, and I think they kind of said something like that on commentary. Yeah, man, I'm really glad that Andre Cien got to go ahead and show some spotlight in this. How about you? What was your thoughts, Andre Cien in this Rumble?
Yeah, my thought of Andre Cien was, I thought he had a really good showing in this Rumble.
Good.
He really did, and this right here is a star-making performance. I really hope they manage him well, and they really treat him as like he's a big star, and I believe that he will most certainly be a future world champion if his career is treated well,
for sure,
and if he's booked well.
For sure, and definitely having Serena Vega in his corner, I think definitely helps more too with the marketability and everything, and I think she's doing a tremendous job as a heel valet. And then moving on, 25, we have Titus O'Neil representing. I'll let you say it.
Worldwide.
Yeah, Titus comes out. We have the Intercontinental Champion at number 26, The Miz. So there's a lot of build up here. Usually this is where they're gonna build up the wrestlers, a bunch of wrestlers in the ring, so that way someone can come in and clean house. So number 27, we get a surprise entrance of Rey Mysterio. And man, how awesome was it to see Rey Mysterio? I know a lot of us out there who followed Lucha Underground had seen him there in the show. I remember at C2E2, it was great to see him in person and everything. So we know that Rey Mysterio has been active on the independent scene, so that was really cool. So it was great to see him. Interesting, they let him have his shirt off. If a lot of you remember, since Rey got that new tattoo in his later years in WWE, before leaving to go back on the independents and to like Lucha Underground, he had to cover up his whole upper body. So that was really cool to see. So Rey Mysterio can come out in the attire that the way we remembered him, obviously. And I thought this is really good because he had that big that part where they booked him to come out at number 30 when everybody was expecting Daniel Bryan. Like Steve Austin said on his podcast, if you're not going to put Daniel Bryan in, at least let the heel benefit from heel heat. Poor Rey got booed the crap out of, and it wasn't even his fault. So it's great to see him come out and get a huge pop of this. What was it like for you to see Rey Mysterio come out at number 27 after all these years?
I thought it was a great thing. I thought it was a great thing for him to get his steam back, and for him to get his his thunder back as the other baby face. I always, I think it was a great thing for Rey Mysterio, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he got his shine back. For that, because Rey Mysterio definitely deserved better, and the WWE is at fault for him getting that for him getting booed.
For sure.
You know, they are definitely at fault. 'Cause, they should have just, why the fuck didn't they put, back in that time, why the fuck didn't they just put Daniel Bryan in the Royal Rumble and have him win it? You know what I mean? This is what frustrates people. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent.
It's the reason why a lot of us probably went into, myself included. I didn't have high expectations for this Royal Rumble match, or the Royal Rumble in general, because after being disappointed for so many years, it's like, okay, why should I get hyped for this year? Especially after last year when they had the formula to create one of the greatest Royal Rumbles ever. They had the star-studded, everything was all set, and then that's what they gave us. So yeah, we have Adam Cole get eliminated, and then number 28 comes out to yet another huge reaction of boos, Roman Reigns, and I think a lot of us felt, and myself included, while watching this, like, all right, here we go. Like I was at this point, I was just enjoying the Royal Rumble for what it is, because I'm like, it's fine now, but I know where this is going in the end, because I know where I want it to go, but I don't have any faith they're going to do that after the recent history they've given us. So you have Titus O'Neil ends up getting eliminated by Reigns, and then The Miz is eliminated from there, thrown on the Miz to Raj by Reigns when he's done, does a power bomb onto them. And then after that, you have Seth Rollins get eliminated by Roman Reigns, and they're smiling back, and he's like, "Yep, I would have done the same." Kind of like he would have done the same thing too, had he had the opportunity. Here's my little mini rant. I'm really never a fan of when they do these in the Royal Rumbles. I just always, which is one of the reasons I loved about the 2009 Royal Rumble so much, when Randy Orton and Legacy, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase, when they actually worked all together until the very end. I just wish they would have they do this more logically, like the tag teams do this. They clean house and then they try to fight and eliminate each other. Like, no, how about if me and you are in a 2-man or 4-man group, let's stick together to the very end and then duke it out at the end and try to eliminate each other. But it would have been nice if Reigns and Rollins would have worked together. But Rollins is tossed out. Number 29, go
because of babyface logic.
Babyface logic, right? That's the rules of wrestling. So 29, Goldust comes out. It is cool to see Goldust still getting highlighted. From there, number 30. Who's going to be number 30? Waiting to see if it's someone big. Dolph Ziggler, who had been rumored to possibly maybe be one of the ones to win this. And Dolph Ziggler is almost gone as soon as he gets out. After Goldust is eliminated, Dolph Ziggler is gone. And that's when we started getting to the ending. What did you think about getting as we get towards the end here? What did you think about Dolph Ziggler coming out at number 30?
Hell no, that's funny to me.
As you can hear, the man 0001, not a fan of Dolph Ziggler. I thought it was like, hey, okay, you kept him off of TV, possibly trying to take him off of everybody's mind, and then you eliminate him, which basically serves as a reminder as to why he has been off of a lot of people's minds. And it's sad because, there's a lot of people out there, myself included, feels Ziggler is a tremendous talent. No idea what they're doing with Dolph Ziggler. I wish they would have tried to go on all the way with the guy, but it is what it is at this point. And then from there, we have Reigns toss out Randy Orton. So interesting is Randy Orton, I think, was the one that tossed him out last year in the Rumble. So it was good. I'm glad to see, like I said, I'm a Randy Orton fan. But I just didn't think that was necessary for him to win the Royal Rumble last year. Oh my gosh. What was your thoughts on Randy Orton getting eliminated?
Oh, get him the fuck out of here. Go, get gone.
Oh,
bounce.
Boy. We had... We had.
I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him winning the Royal Rumble ever again.
Same here.
True. Who benefits from that?
Exactly. I wish they would have done the opposite. I wish Bray Wyatt would have won the Rumble last year. Randy wins the Elimination Chamber, and then Bray Wyatt wins the WWE Championship and goes on to a nice reign title. But as we've seen with poor Bray Wyatt, WWE just ain't having it. So then let's see, we had Roman Reigns and Cena stare off and have a standoff, and the Philadelphia crowd erupts into "You both suck! You both suck!" This is after Rey Mysterio was eliminated, and they had a cool moment where it's kind of like Cena, Orton, and I forgot to mention Cena, Orton, Reigns. Cena, Orton, and Mysterio are teaming up against Reigns, Nakamura, and Finn Balor. So it's kind of like Ruthless Aggression era versus the current era. So I'm pretty sure it's really cool for those of you who grew up in that era, or for us who grew up before it, to see that. And then let's see, like I said, Randy Orton got eliminated. Rey Mysterio gets eliminated. So at this point, it comes down to the final four. Before we get to the final four, what was your thoughts on the fans chanting "You both suck" at Reigns and Cena?
Ah, boy. Well, WWE did it to themselves. So
pretty much.
I got no sympathy.
No sympathy. Well, we got the Vince McMahon line after he screwed Bret Hart. All right. So the final four comes down to Finn Balor, Nakamura, John Cena, and Roman Reigns. So you've got the two guys who we know are Vince McMahon's favorite guys in terms of how the product is booked, and then you've got two guys who, as you said in your mini rant earlier, two guys that a lot of the hardcore fans followed on their journey to get here to WWE and are really behind. So at this point, I feel like, WWE is definitely trying to play with the emotions and everything. So we get John Cena eliminating Finn Balor, and it's down to John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Nakamura. And then Nakamura eliminates John Cena, and we come down to the final portions of this match. Did you have anything you wanted to say about the final four before we move on to the final two here?
Oh boy, this final four right here, it felt like it was playing with my emotions.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
My emotions and the fans everywhere else, it felt like they was playing with our emotions, man. It's like, oh, come on now, don't do this, don't do this, please don't do this.
Yeah, and then we get to the final two here, with Roman Reigns and Nakamura. So at this point, I'm like, we've been down this road again. I was just saying, like I was telling you and our friend Matt, I was like, Vince, we know what you want. Just get it over with. Just do it. Just have him toss out Nakamura. And, it's like, oh, come on. And they really milk this. Like, these guys are going for several minutes. So they're milking the crap out of this and everything. And it's like, come on. There's that part of me hoping Nakamura wins.
Oh, boy.
And in the end, Nakamura lands the Kinshasa and grabs Reigns and tosses him over the ropes. And there we are, the winner of the 2018 Royal Rumble, Shinsuke Nakamura. And I mean, the entire, just like the crowd exploded in just happiness. At the sports bar we were at, we were jumping up and just excited. I think our friend Matt said, you look like you were crying. You were so happy finally.
Oh, I was. I was crying. I was crying. Here's a joke.
Oh my gosh.
I watched Nakamura's journey to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because he started off his career as a pretty decent wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He was good, decent, not great, but good.
Mm-hmm.
And he evolved his game after his match with Brock Lesnar. Over in New Japan, he had used that as an opportunity to improve his skills.
Mm-hmm.
And he took that as an opportunity to improve his skills, to better himself as a pro wrestler and better himself as a performer. And I watched it happen. And he went from that to becoming one of the greatest of all time over in Japan, and he'd go over to ROH and he performed really well in ROH, and he'd go off to do so much in so many different places, and then he'd become a megastar over in Japan. And it's just like seeing him go from Japan and seeing him do his final match over New Japan Pro Wrestling. I believe it's against Tanahashi for the Intercontinental Championship over there, dropping that title.
Mm-hmm.
And he coming over to NXT and becoming a big deal in NXT, becoming a 2-time NXT champion. I believe he's the first ever to do that. And then, dropping that title to Bobby Roode, and then getting his main roster shine. When you watch Shinsuke Nakamura, whenever, it definitely feels like you're getting something different, and it feels like you're getting something special each and every week he comes out. And, and from the botch job of the WWE Championship feud they did with him and Jinder Mahal, all the way up till this point right here, it feels like so much of those wrongs that they did with him last year were just, were corrected here. They feel like they were done right. They feel like they were done and corrected. And, for now till WrestleMania, we have to see if that gets done. We have to see if those rights are, those wrongs are righted,
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, so happy to see him. I'm so happy.
I agree, man. For me personally, it's been a long time coming, because, like, especially with recent years, like, I thought Ryback should have won that 2013 Royal Rumble. I just thought there was no reason to give it to John Cena when you could have had Cena just win a number one contenders match, and Ryback could have at least gone on to take on Big Show and win the world title that way. I mean, come on. And then 2014, Batista. I love Batista. I'm a big fan of Batista, but man, once again, not necessary for him to win a second Rumble. And then you had Roman go over in 2015, but it's not what the majority of the fans wanted. And then 2016, Triple H. Once again, I'm a fan of Triple H, but is it necessary for Triple H to win a Royal Rumble again? Randy Orton, like, just this repeated pattern of former. It's like it just felt like it's either a former star, it's either a star who is already established and already won a Royal Rumble wins, or if there is someone new who wins, it's someone who's the fans aren't really fully behind. And this was a breath of fresh air. A new guy who's still trying to get established on the main roster, that the majority of the fan base is behind, that you don't have to come up and try to hide that the reason why fans cheer and boo him, and you gotta say he's polarizing and all that stuff. Just like, man, someone who's organically over with the fans. Like, it was huge. I was so happy to see, and I'm so glad to be right. The WWE worked me good in this one, and I am glad that they did, because it feels good just to know Nakamura. And like I said, they can still do their Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match for the Universal title that's been heavily rumored since last year. So definitely, this was just excellent. And when I look at this whole Royal Rumble match, yeah, we didn't get that many surprises. We did not get that many surprises at all. But I thought I enjoyed it from top to bottom. It was fun. A lot of the old newer talent got showcased, and the very endings of this match was very dramatic, and it is very smart of WWE on their part to book John Cena and Roman Reigns the way they did at the end. Especially, I felt like they had to make it come down to Roman Reigns, because it just created that emotion, that idea that, like, oh, they're going to let Roman Reigns get his second Royal Rumble victory. They just want to go there, or they want Cena to tie Steve Austin's Royal Rumble record, and having it come down to who they knew were going to be the hardcore fans' favorites. And just I thought it was well booked, and one of the best Royal Rumble matches we've seen in years, and I think I can put it up there with one of the better Royal Rumble matches we've had, period. So when I look at it, hats off to WWE. A very well done Royal Rumble this year that's been a long time coming. So
when I watched this Royal Rumble, it just felt like, oh my gosh, it just felt like everything. It felt like a weight had been lifted off.
I agree, but let's move on, because I don't want the review here to go too long. Thank you guys for all who are still sticking around listening. We have the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan defending the titles against Sheamus, Cesaro, The Bar. And this match, it was clearly the chill match to chill everyone down. I hear that the bathroom lines were extremely long. Like, that's the way they positioned this match. These guys had to follow that incredible Royal Rumble match. And the way this is booked, just Seth Rollins basically getting beat down by the bar for several minutes with Jason Jordan not being able to come out and help him tag in and tag out. And he just couldn't do it. And Seth Rollins ends up losing, and the bar gets the title back. I know I heard that Jason Jordan's possibly injured, and that's why this match was booked the way it is. But honestly, once again, all four of these guys are talented. But I thought out of all the matches, this was the really down point of the show. Like, this was this was the weakest match. Sorry, I just got to tell it like it is. But, hey, I think that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to calm the crowd down. It was what it was supposed to be. What was your thoughts on this match before we move on?
Oh, boy. This match... Man, this match was... it's just like... yeah. It was a match. It happened.
A match.
And the less said about this, the better.
I agree.
I watched this match. It had four great talents in this match, and each man should have definitely been able to bring out their A game. But you have Jason Jordan, who wasn't even in the Royal Rumble match, acting like he was injured and couldn't do anything. Then you have Seth Rollins out there, who's in the Royal Rumble match, putting in more work. Putting in that work, and then you have, the bar.
Yeah, shout out to Seth Rollins for working double
shout
duty.
Out to Seth Rollins, for working all that double duty. Shout out to Cesaro for working double duty as well. He was in the Royal Rumble too. And shout out to Sheamus. I know he's got spinal stenosis right now, and that's not easy.
Oh, yeah.
That's not easy to be dealing with. Trust me.
Oh yeah, that might have been the reason why they eliminated him so quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, because and I hope and it's kind of sad knowing that Sheamus's days in the ring are numbered.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've actually enjoyed Sheamus's run all through for sure. I will say one last thing about that Sheamus Cesaro match is if they would have just done some sort of injury angle where Jason had to get stretchered out and they didn't just drag it out and made the match more of like a fight of survival with Seth Rollins and he just ends up getting beaten in the end after a tremendous effort, I thought the match probably would have been better, but they wanted to obviously just chill the crowd down after all that emotional roller coaster. All right, moving on to the WWE Universal Championship match, triple threat match. Brock Lesnar defending the Universal Championship against Kane and Braun Strowman. Once again, not really much. I thought this match was okay for what it was. I think most of us knew Brock Lesnar was going to win. And as I mentioned in the Raw 25 review, I wasn't impressed too much with Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman's match. I wasn't impressed with a lot of the Braun Strowman-Kane matches, so I kind of felt like things might be off in this one. With that said in mind, I will say this. I think this triple threat match was better than the singles match Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar had at No Mercy back in 2017. You had some table spots here and there, but I mean, it wasn't this big dramatic monster, like just three monsters beating the crap out of each other. You had, I thought the triple threat match was way better from 3 years ago with Cena and Rollins added to the mix, so it was what it was. It got done. I think actually, to be honest, the highlight of the match for me was when Braun Strowman kneed Lesnar in the face hard, and Lesnar gets back up, and I don't know if it was like one or two punches, but Brock decks him really hard with some stiff jabs to the face, and they kind of edited out, and it's since then come out now on the wrestling news websites that there's no heat between the two, but Brock Lesnar was just yelling to him, calm the F down, and that part where it was like a shoot and everything, I thought that was probably the most interesting part of this match. With that said in mind, did what it needed to do. Yeah, it did what it needed to do. What was your thoughts on the triple threat match before we move on to the main event here?
It was pretty, man. It was okay. They went out there. It was just like, it was a match, similar to the last match. It was a match. And they had to, they got in, they got out, and it was done. I mean, wait a second. Oh, sorry, just this is what happens when I think about that match.
Well, there you go. That's how we'll end it on that match. Now, let's move on to the main event. I am very happy they actually did give the women the main event spot here, and I think we all knew, okay, something big is going down. So we had Maria Menounos do the introduction, and she got booed out of the crowd. She got booed, and I think she may have botched something, and she said, "Yeah, I get it." I always kind of thought Maria doesn't deserve the disrespect she gets a lot from the fans, because she's a really hardcore fan going back to as far as the 1970s. She knows Dusty Rhodes' whole hard time speech by heart and everything. So I actually appreciate that she's one of the celebrities that come into WWE and is a legit true hardcore fan. But I don't want to rant about it or anything like that. Moving on, keeping focus on the match, we had Stephanie McMahon get introduced as a trailblazer by Michael Cole for the women's division. But says something she'll never say. She'll never tell you that herself. The comment basically just reminded me of, not only is Stephanie McMahon a former WWE Women's Champion, but she also shares the spotlight with Lita, as they were the first two women in WWE history to main event Monday Night Raw, and she also shares the spotlight with Chyna as one of the only two women to ever be the number one contender for the WWE Championship, and I believe Stephanie McMahon is the only woman to ever compete in a match for the undisputed WWE Championship against Triple H and Chris Jericho. Before we get to the match, any comments on Cole's statement?
No, it's a statement.
It's a statement. Now, I know we didn't get to hear Stephanie McMahon's commentary, but from what we did hear, it seemed very chill. There was just so many fans near us in the sports bar that was just yelling and cheering for their favorite WWE superstars, obviously. But we've heard a lot of fans be absolutely brutal towards the commentating, so that must have been pretty good. I didn't hear anybody being that brutal on Stephanie's commentary. All right, so let's begin with the Women's Royal Rumble. We have Sasha Banks coming out at number 1 and Becky Lynch coming out at number 2. And I realize these are going to be the Iron Women of this match, and pretty much. Number 3, we have Sarah Logan. Number 4, Mandy Rose. Number 5, this is the big one, Lita comes out. And I had a huge pop. They're my two favorite all-time women's wrestler. I both put them at number 1 because I can't choose which one that I like better. The two women that are my favorite in professional wrestling is Lita and Molly Holly. So seeing Lita come out at number 5, this was huge, especially since we weren't able to get Lita on the 25th anniversary of Raw. So this was huge. Everybody popped for it in the arena. Everybody popped at the sports bar we were at. So this was awesome. We got to see some cool face-offs between her and Sasha Banks, apparently, which has now become a meme. A lot of people basically had quite the the reaction to Sasha Banks apparently stumping an air mutt hole in Lita. It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate spot. Wish Sasha would have been able to connect more on those. Not damage Lita, but just at least make sure it looks like it tapped her. But this is really cool. We got to see Lita do a lot of cool stuff and everything. Let's see. We had Mandy Rose got eliminated, tossed out by Lita. Kairi Sane came out at number 6, so that was really awesome. Seeing her and her beautiful elbow drop. We had Tamina come out at number 7, let's see, before this, we had Lita do her twist of fates on Becky and Sasha and do the moonsault. which I know you mentioned to me. You were afraid she almost like kind of undershot it. She didn't get as much height, and could have been really bad if her neck got hit there. Like, she could have almost broke her neck again. But thankfully it didn't. It was great to see Lita, and she gets eliminated. And I'll bring up Lita again later on in this review. But Tamina eliminated her. And then after that, Dana Brooke comes out at number 8, and Kairi Sane is then eliminated by Dana Brooke. Number 9, we have Tori Wilson. I remember everybody at the sports bar popped for this. Tori Wilson looked tremendous, and I thought actually in the ring, having not been in the ring so long, she did pretty good. And then Dana Brooke get eliminated by Wilson with via drop kick, and then Sonya Deville came out at number 10, and from there Sonya eliminated Tori Wilson. All right, so from here, that was the first half of this Women's Royal Rumble, and I thought already we were off to a great start. A lot of cool nostalgia moments in here with Lita coming out. That was awesome for Lita to come out, and I'll let you go on, give the floor. What was your thoughts on the first third of this match?
Well, but first I'd like to lead off to say this. The reason why we saw a lot of legends return this night is because a lot of legends returned that night. It's because this right here is supposed to be the feature, and it puts all eyes on this product. It puts all eyes on this main event here, and I think that each woman that went out there, they put on an amazing performance. Even the ones that aren't so ring savvy put on an amazing performance. They went out there and told the best story they could with their bodies, their athleticism. Even Tori Wilson went out there and she put on a good performance. She wasn't too particularly known for her wrestling abilities, but she was more of a she was more of a storyline centerpiece, if anything. But at the same time, she went out there and she told a great story with her body. Same thing with Lita. She went out there and she told a great story. Like SonGoshuaku was saying earlier. She did undershoot that moonsault, and it did kind of look scary. It was kind of takes me back to like 2004, 2005 when Lita re-injured her neck again. So it was just like, oh no, please don't Lita, don't injure yourself. And she didn't, but that was kind of scary. But they don't call her one of the members of Team Extreme for nothing now, do they? But but I watched that, and then also you got Sasha Banks starting off that match at number 1. Spoiler alert. She will be the Iron Woman in this Royal Rumble match. It was amazing to see.
Definitely agree. And so we go to the second half of this match. Number 11, Liv Morgan came out. Number 12. So I told you guys, my 2 all-time favorite women's wrestlers, Lita. So when I heard at number 12, didn't have to see the Titantron. I just needed to hear that first part of the theme song. I was like, yeah! Oh my gosh, how great was it to see Molly Holly? She looked tremendous. She looked as if she hadn't aged a bit. Looked like she was in a time. She's stuck in a time warp back in like late 2004. How she looked, and like, man, this was so great. I always was a huge fan of Molly Holly, and she looked fantastic coming out there. We got to see the Molly go round. She had to catch herself a little bit on the way down, but man, 40 years old. I'm not too familiar. I don't know if Molly Holly's done too many independent wrestling matches, and the way she was able to get on that top rope and do the forward flip for the Molly go round, man, excellent.
Yes, Molly has done a few indie shows.
Okay, good.
Few indie shows between her last WWE appearance and what she does now, and yeah,
man, it was great. Awesome to see. You had Sarah Logan come out. So then after that, we have Lana come out. So it was great to hear Lana's music, because I don't think on SmackDown I've heard her music in forever. So that was cool. She came out slapping slapping Sonya. And then we had Michelle McCool come out. So,
Well, Lana came out and got straight up beat up as soon as she came in the ring. It was some gang shit.
Yeah, I see. And let me see. Oh, maybe I was looking wrong. I know she came out to loud Rusev Day chants. Yeah, she did do a big slap to Sonya, and then I think that's what led to the beat down.
Sonya entered that ring, got beat the fuck down.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're trying to go on initial thoughts here, sir. Guys. So just forgive us. Then Michelle McCool came out, so that was cool. I was always a big fan of her and Layla together as Flawless. That was a good times on SmackDown, except for the Picky James. I wasn't really feeling the Picky James storyline, but I digress. Sonya Deville gets eliminated, and then you have Liv Morgan gets eliminated, and Michelle ends up eliminating Molly Holly. But I'm glad we got to see Molly Holly get in all her good spots and everything beforehand. And then from there, Lana ends up getting tossed out by Michelle McCool. So Michelle McCool's just running through people. Interestingly enough, I think Michelle McCool got to be one of the longest. She got the maybe if not the most, one of the most eliminations. So it's interesting that WWE would do that for her, would have her eliminate so many when she's not going to be here in the long run, as opposed to the current talent. I know a lot of people would speculate as to reasons why that is, but you didn't hear it from me. I'm not going to say it, but I know a lot of people would speculate. But
Nope. We ain't said nothing.
Yeah,
we ain't
say nothing.
And what do we say?
Nothing. But of course, but still, I got still much respect for. I did like Michelle McCool, and especially towards the end there. Let's see. Number 15, we have Ruby Riott came out at the halfway point. Number 16, Vicky Guerrero, which was quite a surprise, a pleasant surprise, actually. I was not expecting Vicky Guerrero to be in this. She came out just with, excuse me, this was our comedy spot of the match. And then, they all made sure to nicely, gently put her out of the ring, and it looked pretty good and everything. Most eliminations I actually thought looked pretty good. That was a concern by a lot of people in this Rumble match, is that the women are going to have a hard time going over the ropes and everything, but I thought from what I saw visually, it looked pretty good. Then after she gets eliminated, she attacks number 17 entrance, who is Carmella, and that was kind of pretty funny. You have Natalya come out at number 18, number 19 Kelly at number 19, and as WWE likes to mention all the time, Kelly started her WWE career at the age of 19. So once again, Kelly looked tremendous. A lot of these women, Michelle McCool, all of them, just much power to them. All these women have stayed in tremendous shape. And then Michelle McCool is eliminated by Natalya. And number 20, we have Naomi. So that was the half of the match. And Naomi actually does have a really cool spot in this. A lot of people say she was given the Kofi Kingston spot, where I believe she's thrown out and all the girls catch her, and then she sort of does a tightrope walk on the barricade. And if you actually look at Marina Menounos' social media, you could see the video from her point of view, where she's like, get off the chair. She jumps on it, uses it as a pogo stick, just like Kofi once did. And then she's basically able to, from there, get back into the she's basically able to get back into the ring there. From that, I think she did sort of like had her feet kind of like crawled on her hands, and got back in there. Lots of effort, and then of course gets eliminated. But before we get into
in short order,
yeah, pretty much. So the Kofi Kingston spot, but I'm glad they got to at least let Naomi display her athleticism and kind of get one of those memorable moments that we'll remember. With that said in mind, before we move on to the final part of this match, did you have anything you wanted to say about this portion? Yeah, that we had with
this portion. This portion was pretty fun. You had a lot of. Yeah, this portion was pretty fun. You had a lot of you got some more legends come back because they needed to fill those spots out. I might add, a lot of these women look like they can still go. And a lot of them retired young. They retired early. Whether it be they wanted to go do other careers, whether it be they wanted to go and have a families, or rather it be they just were tired of the business in general. It's just I looked at this and I'm just like, a lot of them can still go. I mean, if they wanted to put together the moves to make it happen, they look like they can still go. So I mean, the old, what I mean, the oldest person in the match was in their 50s. And that's pretty young in terms of pro wrestling, female pro wrestling
For
legend
sure, we'll be
years.
getting to that person soon.
You know, you know what I mean, and it's just like seeing a lot of them. It's just like wow, you know, it's like being in a time warp. It's like being in a time warp. It's like watching that episode of Power Rangers a few seasons ago when they did the 20th anniversary episode, but done better and done right, given some time to breathe. That's what it's like. It's like, this Royal Rumble match, no, this women's Royal Rumble match felt like what Raw 25, the whole show should have been. Outside of a couple of key points should have been, but it feels like it's everything done right. It feels like, you see your life flash before your eyes in this one. You see the women you grew up with as a child. You see the ones that you grew up with as a teenager. You see the ones you grew up with as a young adult. And now you see the ones who are currently there while you're in your current adulthood years.
Oh yeah, agree,
And
definitely.
it's amazing. And then watching all of them go in there and see how they mesh with the current divas now, not divas, but the current women nowadays.
That's right. Get it right.
That's that brain. That's that brainwashing. That's that brainwashing that WWE did. Pretty soon I'm gonna start saying I'm twice the man that you are, and I got half the brain that you do. you know, you know what I mean? Oh shit, man! Can we record this now? We're live, son. You know,
We're
but
live,
yeah,
pal.
but seeing it, what I mean, the reason why I say divas is because a lot of these women were divas when they retired. And unfortunately, I don't like that term divas. I like the term women's wrestlers
Agree.
or
I
just
never was
wrestlers
into
in
the
general.
term.
And seeing a lot of them go in there, they really showed that they could still go if they wanted to. And yeah, this match was a lot of fun.
Agree, man.
It really
I
was.
totally agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
these women proving that as you get older, you keep yourself in good shape and everything. Dedicate yourself to fitness. You can look really good as you age.
And also take good care of yourself. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Just take good care of yourself. Stay away from the drugs. Don't go out and drink too much. You know, you know what I mean? And try to be, and go and be happy.
Right.
Be happy in life. You know what I mean? That's the key.
They're in a happy stage of their lives, and you can tell it. They looked it.
And this is what it looks like when you go out and try to have fun.
Agree,
You know,
definitely. But hey, so we don't ramble on too long here. We are at the tail end of this review, so let's finish up. We had Becky Lynch get eliminated, and she had a tremendous showing in this. So they gave Becky Lynch a lot of time in this. 21. We mentioned the oldest contestant being in her 50s, Jacqueline. Once again, as we mentioned, she looked tremendous. Great seeing Jacqueline. I really am glad on commentary. It's mentioned that she had beat Chavo Guerrero to become the first and only woman to ever hold the cruiserweight title. So that was something I wish they would have made more mention when she went into the Hall of Fame.
In the WWE. You have to remember the lady that did
that's
not
what
know
I mean.
much about
WWE,
today's WWE product.
That's right. WWE
was the cruiserweight, was the WCW cruiserweight
Cruz.
champion.
I was mentioned
And
in the
also,
WWE one.
Yeah, no, the thing is, WWE Cruiserweight Championship back in those times it shares the same lineage as the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. So it's the same lineage. It's the same, it's the same as the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. It's just rebranded as the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. So it shares the same lineage.
Yeah.
So the same championship title that she held. The same. Let's just, she's holding the same championship that a guy like Chris Jericho held. She's holding the same title that Rey Mysterio held. She's holding the same title that Eddie Guerrero held.
Hmm.
That's what she's holding. So, when Jacqueline won that title, she's also the third woman to ever hold it, as I think about it, because
Overall.
Medusa held it.
Hmm.
Medusa held it. Daphne held it. And Jacqueline held it. So it's three women have held that Cruiserweight Championship overall.
Cool. Thank you. This is why he is the historian, folks, and we have him on here. Moving on to we have Nia Jax comes in at number 22, eliminates both Jacqueline and Kelly, and from there, she's wreaking havoc in the ring. You get Ruby Riott is eliminated, and then at 23 we have the NXT Women's Champion Ember Moon, which definitely got a big pop. This was huge. And everything. This was huge. Naomi ends up getting eliminated after going over the spot after where she was keeping her hands propped up, and when she got up on the steel steps and climbed up to the top, and eliminated by Jax right after. Number 24, another one of my all-time favorite women's wrestlers, Beth Phoenix. After Trish and Lita retired, Beth Phoenix and Natalya were like my two favorite because I just loved how they could get in the ring, kick butt. You knew they knew how to wrestle. And Beth Phoenix gets in there and she comes face to face with Nia Jax, and the crowd's going crazy for this. This is huge because everyone knows how much of a powerhouse Beth Phoenix is, and it's so good to see Beth Phoenix. We were there. I was there for when she won the Women's Championship at No Mercy 07. I was there when she was in the Hall of Fame, so I'm really glad to be seeing Beth Phoenix get that type of respect and everything for what she did for the then Divas division. This was really cool because I think a lot of us wanted to see that Karma versus Beth Phoenix match. We'll never get it. This is probably about the closest thing we could get it. It would have been cool if they had Karma in here. We got a Karma and Nia Jax face off. But yeah, it was really cool. It was so cool to the point where Beth Phoenix is lifting up oh my gosh, see, I really wanted that Karma and Beth Phoenix match, but she's lifting up Nia Jax. I'm almost like, come on, do it, toss her out. But Beth Phoenix ends up getting tossed out instead. By her best friend Natalya. They had an Beth Phoenix got really emotional in the ring, but it's fine though, because I had to remind myself that no, as much as I love Beth Phoenix work in the ring, Nia Jax and the current talent should be showcased. Number 25 is Asuka. So we were all waiting for the Empress tomorrow, the heavy favorite for this, and you get a showdown between her and Ember Moon, and we even get to see Ember Moon hit the Eclipse, and afterwards Asuka, however, eliminates Ember Moon, and so she's still just not ready for Asuka. Still can't get one over Asuka, so it is what it is. Hopefully, maybe one of these days when Asuka's undefeated reign comes to an end, Ember Moon's on the main roster, we'll see her get her match.
I think Asuka goes one more year undefeated.
Wow.
And yeah, and I think Ember Moon makes her. And I think she makes her main roster debut next year in the Women's Royal Rumble.
Bold prediction here, folks, from the man0001.
Yeah. She goes in, she wins the Royal Rumble, and she goes to WrestleMania to face Asuka, who is by that point in time the longest reigning women's champion on Raw history. And I think that Ember Moon wins the title from her in a proper crowning, passing of the torch moment.
Cool. Let's refer back to this video if it happens in 1 year's time. We number 26, we get Mickie James comes to the ring, and then number 27, Nikki Bella, and we end up having Carmella, who is eliminated after by falls out after Nikki attacks her, I believe. And then from there, 28 is Brie Bella. So great to see Brie Bella. Knowing that she just had a kid, so she came in. Look at this, just like, man, 1 year ago she was having a baby, and now look at her, she's back in shape for the to do the Women's Royal Rumble. So I guess hey, why not have the Bella Twins in this? They needed to fill up as much time as they could. Number 29, Bayley. Wow, Bayley did not get much time at all in this match, eliminated. I was very shocked. We were there when she won the Women's Championship.
I was disappointed that she didn't get that opportunity.
Yeah, man. Like
I was quite disappointed that she didn't get the opportunity to show much of what she could do in this Rumble match, because Bayley came out. She came out, and it's just sad how far she's fallen. So I look at Bayley, and they effectively killed her main roster momentum because of the booking that they did last year with the Alexa Bliss storyline.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Bayley should definitely be so much more than she is right now.
All right, let her be the happy-go-lucky baby face, but when it's time to get down that ring, let her go all out. That's what we saw in NXT. Like, oh no, she wasn't gonna be pushed around, and well, that could be a whole video in of itself. But I see we both agree that Bayley gets like no time in this match. So we get to number 30. And everybody at this point is expecting it to be Ronda Rousey. And once it goes down, 3, 2, 1, we hear Little Kim's laugh. And it's Trish Stratus, and everybody goes nuts. And this is cool because we didn't know if Trish Stratus would be in here. And and I think a lot of us were saying, okay, we'll take it, Trish. Trish Stratus. There's no Ronda Rousey. So it becomes clear here that WWE most likely worked us, and it looks like Asuka possibly has a better chance at winning now. So Trish Stratus comes in, she's doing all her cool stuff. We get some really cool face-off between Trish Stratus and Sasha Banks, which is really cool stuff. Sasha did a tremendous job. We kind of got the little bit of the old heel Sasha Banks from NXT that we've been wanting to see, and I thought Trish was tremendous, even showing she still got it. Just the way she was able to make fun of Sasha's taunt and everything. Doing the whole where she puts the arms up and all that stuff. So that was cool. We got Mickie James and Trish Stratus got a stare down, and the fans remembered, so that's good. Shows how impactful that feud was. You were there live for it in Chicago when it happened. I don't know if you saw this. I know people point out she did the whole V-lick thing that has been edited out of most of WWE's reproductions of that show. So she remembered. That was hilarious. The camera tried to cut away for it and not zoom in on it. So that was a pretty awesome moment. Mickie James got eliminated, and then from there all the women ended up eliminating Nia Jax, and as we mentioned before, Sasha Banks throws out Bayley. She barely got any time in this, and I believe the final not the final four, we got Natalya is eliminated by Trish Stratus. We did get to see Trish do the Stratus faction, and Sasha Banks ends up throwing out Trish Stratus, and basically from there it comes down to Sasha Banks, I believe, the Bella Twins, and Asuka as the final four. So before we get into the final four, how did you like seeing the last portion of this match up to Trish Stratus, up to before we got to the final four?
Oh boy, I enjoyed this match. I really did. What I mean, from start to finish, I enjoyed this match. Of course it wasn't perfect. I wish Bayley would have gotten a lot more time in this match to show off what she could do. But you get up to that you get up to right before the final four, seeing how everything went down. It was just like, but it became apparent as to who was going to win. And I felt that it was just inevitable.
Oh yeah. And, how great was it to see Trish Stratus again after all this time?
It's always a pleasure to see Trish Stratus, of course. You know what I mean? It is. You know what I mean? So one of the things is when it comes down to Trish Stratus, I've always respected her. I've always, and I've always enjoyed her work, and I'm always a big fan of improvement. You know what I mean? 'Cause first time I ever saw Trish Stratus in the ring, I'm like, what the hell is she doing in a ring? Why is she even there? What's her problem? Is she lost? Is she lost and confused? Does she need some assistance? But over time, she got so much better, significantly better. You know what I mean? I always will give credit where credit's due when someone gets better, And, you'll always earn my, what I mean? My respect is something that's always to be earned. It's not given to people as soon as I see them. You have to earn this. And she definitely has. So seeing Trish Stratus out there was amazing. You know what I mean? And then getting the opportunity to see all the rest of the female wrestlers out there was amazing.
Yeah, that's good. We got a lot of dream match scenarios.
I hope I hope we do get some matches like that. You know what I mean? I think we will get
Yeah,
the
for
Trish
sure.
Stratus
Yeah,
versus-
like I said, all these women we saw could still go. So hopefully, there will be some more room for maybe even as soon as WrestleMania for big dream matches. So for sure. And I was gonna bring.
I think but in terms of WrestleMania dream matches, I think we should get Sasha Banks versus Trish Stratus.
That would be pretty epic. I was gonna say.
And then we should also get Lita versus Bailey.
But the thing is, I don't know how many women matches WWE is going to push on it. But then again, they can do whatever they want to. We sit through 7 hours of WrestleMania outside. So, yeah. I was going to say, now, this is one of my things, though. I wish if Trish wasn't going to be in the match, then I'm fine with Lita coming out so early. But if you know Trish is going to be in the match, how do you not have Trish and Lita? That'd be like having The Rock make an appearance early on, and then Stone Cold comes out towards the end. Like, how would you not have a Rock and Austin nostalgia moment if they were going to be in the Men's Royal Rumble? So it would have been awesome to see Trish and Lita come face to face. I would have loved to see Trish and Lita team up, Team Bestie, go up against the Team Bella, the Bellas. That would have been some good stuff. They could have been played out like who's the more dominant duel and everything. So that was one of the things that I thought was disappointing about the match. But moving on to this final four, after a tremendous amount of time, I think they kept saying on the Raw after 55 minutes, Sasha Banks is the one that ends up getting eliminated after Banks hits the running knee to Asuka. The Bellas tossed her out. And then it comes down to the Bella Twins and Asuka. So they really milk this, kind of like what they were doing earlier with Roman Reigns and John Cena ganging up on Nakamura. So this goes on quite several minutes. Brie, when she gets eventually tossed over the ring, Nikki Bella ends up elbowing her out, and it comes down to Asuka, which actually I was pretty okay with, because I'm like, hey, the opportunity's there and everything. She wanted to be tough and take on Asuka herself, and Nikki really gets a lot of offense in on Asuka. In the closing parts of this match, Asuka gets thrown over the top rope. Nikki nails her, but Asuka hangs on. Nikki ends up getting taken over the ropes by when Asuka wraps her legs around her neck, and they're both fighting on the end. So it's this real dramatic, epic, like, all right, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win here? So Nikki nails Asuka, and she falls on the apron, but holds onto the bottom rope. She then charges at Asuka. Asuka then kicks her leg, and Nikki falls onto the apron and then falls out of the ring. And Asuka is your very first winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. Now, while I did like the suspense of this, while I did like how dramatic they try to make it at the end, and once again, more of that trying to play with our emotions, I felt that, once again, I say the Bella Twins definitely both have improved tremendous from where they are. They've improved a lot. But for this, I felt I would have liked it to either come down to Sasha Banks and Asuka and have them go at it to decide who's going to be the first winner, or even have Trish Stratus, like I think Corey Graves was saying what a story would have been if Trish Stratus won. Like, and I'm not saying she should have won, but having Trish Stratus and Asuka be the final two, and then have Asuka eliminate Trish Stratus to get that big, huge endorsement. I just felt like they should have picked women who were just someone bigger like stars in terms of the history of the women's wrestling, like Trish Stratus, or go with one of the more popular newer faces in Sasha, because obviously the Bella Twins have been out for a while, and I mean, I'm not gonna complain too much here because Asuka won, and I'm glad they went there, and I thought it was the right thing to do, but I don't know. I felt like the Bella Twins weren't a good choice so for it to come down to the end of Asuka. So what was your thoughts on the climactic finish of this match?
Oh, well, my thoughts on it. It's like this, you know. Oh man, I was hoping for a Team Bad reunion in this Rumble. Harken to the earlier days of the Divas Revolution, quote unquote. But yeah, final sequences of this match really helped. Really had us on the edges of our seats. But I knew who was gonna win this. I knew who was winning this shit.
Yeah, the Bellas kind of made it obvious, right? When it came down to them, it made it obvious.
You know what I mean? And I was happy that Asuka won, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people were.
Oh yeah.
So much like Shinsuke Nakamura. In his role to his win in the Royal Rumble.
I remember Kana, her days as Kana.
I remember Asuka's days as Kana. I remember how hard she worked, and I remember how hard her path to the WWE was, and I still remember watching her in Japan. So it's crazy and it's great, and to finally start seeing some international flavor being added to the Royal Rumble, and some international flavor being added to WWE in terms of its main event scene. When it comes down to getting those top spots, and I can't wait to see Asuka go to WrestleMania. I don't care which champion she faces. It's pretty much apparent at this point she's going to go there and she's going to win, and she will. Definitely
go on that long title reign you were talking about earlier. Yeah. Hey man, I agree. Definitely, it was a good night. Definitely for Japan. Two of its biggest Japanese stars being showcased here on a big. I guess they call it the Big Five pay-per-views now because they're making Money in the Bank part of the big shows. That was interesting. It was tremendous. Definitely, it was great. And these two Rumble matches definitely helped make the show. And let's talk about the final, because apparently WWE did indeed have a certain person with the same initials as we hear Bad Reputation hits. And for those of you that followed her in UFC, you know what this music meant. It meant the debut of Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Walking out in tribute to Roddy Piper. They've always had a close connection. If you guys have also once again followed on Ronda, he allowed her to use the Rowdy name. And she looked as happy as could be being there, coming out smiling. And I know he was looking, she kept pointing at that sign, made sure to point at that sign. So she's already getting, she worked everybody good. So she's getting there to WWE Superstar. They want you to point at that sign, and she pointed all right. So she comes in, tries to shake hands with Asuka. Asuka sort of slaps it away. The crowd was like, oh. We see her face to face with Charlotte and Alexa, and then you have Stephanie getting angry, looking furious. She shakes Stephanie's hand, and it's like they're trying to ignore. We all know Stephanie. She's still been with Stephanie and Triple H, outside of social media, but keeping kayfabe alive here. Gotta always appreciate that. And the crowd's just going crazy. Ronda Rousey has officially made her debut. She did interviews afterwards to show that she is now has a full-time contract with the WWE, so she's going to fully commit to this. And this is huge. WWE getting a lot of mainstream attention, and this is exactly what WWE needs, especially heading into the biggest show of the year. I was a fan of Ronda Rousey. We went back and watched some of her pre-UFC fights, and then watched her UFC, and then watched her matches or fights in UFC. Last two didn't go so well for her, but I have tremendous respect for what she did for women's MMA, and I hope that Ronda Rousey will now be able to bring that over to the WWE and continue to help elevate WWE's women's division. Some people felt that this took away from Asuka, but while I totally can see where you might come from if you do have that perspective, and I respect it. I also kind of thought this was smart, because by not having Ronda in the match, you didn't have to deal with Ronda eliminates her, or you make Ronda look weak on her first debut match. I like that they kept the entire match focused on all the women that make the women's division get to where it is. And I'm glad Asuka got the win. And you debut Ronda, you get everybody talking. So I think for what it was, it had a big climactic ending. To me, I said this is what I felt like a Royal Rumble match should be. Filled with lots of current talent, but you get a lot of great surprises of legends and a great and some call-ups from NXT, and you just had this really tremendous match. I did actually like this match better than the men's Royal Rumble. I thought it was had a lot more surprise elements to it, but both Rumble matches honestly delivered. I honestly, most thing I can say is just felt good to be a fan again, where you're not like, this sucks, or they're like, oh, why would they make that decision? Why would this, so many times we end up doing that because of the decisions WWE ends up booking, for a lot of us long time wrestling fans and hardcore wrestling fans watching. It's like, but this one, it will sit back and just be a fan and enjoy, and it's just great, man. A lot of good stuff. Definitely one of the best Royal Rumbles we've had this decade. One of the best Royal Rumbles. I think I might put it up there with some of the best Royal Rumbles. Now, I wouldn't say it's the best, but definitely one of the best ones I think we've had in history. And that's my final thoughts on this show and the ending of this match. Do you have anything you want to say in conclusion, especially your thoughts on Ronda Rousey?
My thoughts on Ronda Rousey coming into the WWE are, as described, I think that her coming into WWE is a great thing. I think it's more eyeballs on the product, more money in her pockets and the pockets of the performers around her. And I think it takes away from Asuka a little bit, but not too much, though. I think those two will meet somewhere down the road, And I think Asuka being the first ever women's Royal Rumble winner is an amazing thing. It makes sense as to what's going on right now, as well as historical sets later on down the road. But as for Ronda coming out, I don't think she completely eclipsed Asuka. I don't think that, that makes Asuka look any weaker, but I think Ronda Rousey coming out there and proclaiming herself fit to be on the road to WrestleMania, I think it's a great thing, How well will she perform in the ring? How well will she do in a match? Only time will tell, So right now, I think it's a great thing, but, I hope she makes the most of this opportunity. I hope that she has her personal demons sorted out. So just in case, even if she does fail or she doesn't do so well, or she does, or if she does bad in her initial wrestling match or first few matches, or, I hope she has the mental strength to overcome that, So those are my thoughts on it. I mean, overall, I'm happy for her being able to live that, and her finding some happiness in life, because not many people find that, and I think that's a great thing. So stoked about Ronda Rousey being in the WWE.
Very well said. Thank you guys so much for listening to this very lengthy review of the Royal Rumble. If you want to go ahead and follow my guest, you can do so by following him on Twitter at themann0001, as well as his YouTube under the same name. Now, for my plugs. So, if you obviously are a fan of WWE or professional wrestling, we'll be doing more audio reviews like this for big events that you can listen to as you go about your everyday life. Also, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball, shonen manga, or anime adapted from shonen manga, make sure to check out my upcoming short film, Battle of Deception, as it's based on those types of genres. I currently have lots of videos such as the teaser trailer and the behind-the-scene interview videos right here on my channel, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified as soon as I release more content regarding Battle of Deception, Dragon Ball, and even WWE. And make sure to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, both at SonGoshuaku. All links will be in the description below, and we'll be back for a review for WWE Elimination Chamber 2018. Until then, take care.